Sometimes the bawling stirred Granddad, reminded him of other times he had heard it, and of the men he had heard it with. Then he might tell me stories of his days on the big ranches, or of cowboys like his dead foreman, Jericho Green. I sat below him, flipping my pocket knife into the soft dirt of Grandma's lilac beds, taking in every word he said. Granddad was an old man then, and he worked hard days. By 8 or 8:15, he was tired of sitting up. Around that time the nightly zephyr flew by, blowing its loud whistle to warn the station men in Thalia. The noise cut across the dark prairie like the whistling train itself. I could see the 100 lighted windows of the passenger cars, and I wondered where in the world the people behind them were going night after night. To me it was exciting to think about a train, but the zephyr blowing by seemed to make Granddad tireder. It seemed to make him sad. He told me one time that it reminded him of nights on Roundup, long years ago. On quiet nights, he and the other cowboys would sit around the fires telling stories or drawing brands in the dirt. Some nights they would camp close to a railroad track, and a train would go by and blow its whistle at the fires. Sometimes it scared the cattle, and sometimes it didn't. But it always took the spirit out of the cowboys' talk, made them lonesomer than they could say. It made them think about womenfolk and fun and city lights till they could barely stand it. And long years after, when the last train would go by, Granddad got restless. He would stretch and push his old rope-bottomed chair up against the house. "Train's gone, son," he said to me. "It's bedtime." Then he took his coffee can spittoon over to the yard fence, stood there long enough to piss, and went into the house. With that, Granddad's day ended, and my night really began. I went to the windmill and let the faucet run till the coldest deep well water came gurgling up through the pipes. After I drank, I sometimes went over and sat in the rope swing that hung from the biggest sycamore limb, to drag my feet in the sandy dirt and watch Granddad through his window as he got ready for bed. When he had his nightshirt on, he usually came to stand a while by the window screen, looking into the dark and scratching the scarred old leg that he had almost torn off in a roping accident. Then he would turn his back on the night and go to bed. When I knew Granddad was in bed, I went back to the windmill and stopped the blades, so I could climb up and sit on the platform beneath the big fin. Around me, across the dark prairie, the lights were clear. The oil derricks were lit with strings of yellow bulbs, like Christmas trees. The lights were still on in the kitchens of the pumpers' cabins, the little green-top shacks scattered across the plain, each one propped on a few stacks of bricks. 12 miles away, to the north, the red and green and yellow lights of Thalia shimmered against the dark. I sat above it all, in the cool, breezy air that swept under the windmill blades, hearing the rig motors purr and the heavy trucks growl up the hill. Above the chattering of the ignorant Rhode Island Reds, I heard 2 whippoorwills, the ghostly birds I never saw, calling across the flats below the ridge. Sitting there, with only the wind and the darkness around me, I thought of all the important things I had to think about. My honors, my worries, my ambitions. I thought of the wild nights ahead, when I would have my own car and could tear across the country to dances and rodeos. I picked the boys I would run with, the girls we would romp. I kept happy thinking of all the reckless things that could happen in the next few years.